Hi, Dr. Lorri here on the shores of Lake Charlevoix in northern Michigan. And I was talking earlier to a client about trigger foods or comfort foods. Foods that you turn to when maybe something in the environment has triggered you, or when things are not going well and you want to turn to food. Most of the time what we want, and this was the conversation that I had with them, is a state change. We want to change the environment that we are in, and we want to have it different. And so a lot of times we look at food as comfort. And so I want you to think about what's going on around you. What is it that has triggered you? And if you have these trigger foods in your pantry, in your refrigerator, in your kitchen, can you not have them there? As simple as that. Don't keep them in your house. Don't keep them close by. And then that way, when something happens, you're not going to these foods. Another thing is to identify actually what's the emotional state or change that you want to happen. And can you do something about that? One of the things, if I'm wanting a state change, exactly where I am right now on the shores of the lake, being out in nature is a great way to change your emotional state. Nature is very grounding, it's very relaxing. We have so many studies about the benefits of being in nature, and I talk about being in nature a lot because I am a nature girl. I love to be out in nature. I love to take my shoes off and feel the ground underneath my feet. So can you get out into nature to change your state? Maybe you can go cuddle somebody, and not necessarily, maybe it is the person that is triggering you, but maybe something else has triggered you and you find somebody that you actually find comfort in. And just tell them, hey, you know what, I need a hug. Can you give me a hug? And I don't know almost anyone that is going to say, no, you need a hug. I'll give you a hug, especially if they love you and care for you. Maybe you can read or journal or meditate or do some breath work, do some aromatherapy with some essential oils that are 100% pure, certified, tested grade, to make sure that there's no synthetics, no fragrances, nothing in them that might also trigger you. But maybe do some aromatherapy. And I have multiple oils that are good for calming and relaxing. Most people know about lavender. Bergamot is also an amazing oil. There's actually a study that was done out of the San Diego area just the last couple of years. And they did it with retired military and firefighters, law enforcement, first responders who had PTSD. And they had them using bergamot for 14 days. And they had significant changes in their anxiety levels just from inhaling the bergamot. I think they did it 3 days a week, or 3 times a day, maybe morning, noon, and night. So if you want to learn more about that study, you don't know where to find bergamot or lavender that is 100% certified, tested grade, then reach out to me and I can send you a link for a practitioner wholesale pricing on that. But as we look at foods that trigger us, again, what can you do to keep those foods out of your arm's reach, out of your feet reach? Make it hard to go get them. Make yourself have to go to the grocery store or have to go to some kind of a store to go and consume that item. And then that way you're driving there and it's a conscious effort to get there and not something that's just subconsciously that I've walked into the freezer, I've walked into the refrigerator or the pantry, and I have consumed this food. Because sometimes We consume that food in excess because we're trying to create this state change, and the food just keeps going in until we're over full. It truly can take up to 20 minutes to register that we are full from a food. And so if I am in an emotional state, I may not have be able to just put a couple small bites in my mouth and change my state and actually register that I'm full, or that food has even registered in. So as you're thinking about it, think about, what is the emotional state? What kind of state change do you want when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're depressed, when you're lonely? Sometimes I had someone tell me the other day they eat because they're bored, or because it just says it's time to eat on the clock. And this is another reason somebody says it's 12 o'clock, it must be lunchtime. So I said, I want you to recognize, am I hungry at that time? What do my hunger cues look like? On a state of 1 to 10, or on a scale of 1 to 10, and 1 is I am absolutely not hungry, I'm so full, my belly hurts, versus a 10 that I'm starving, I'm lightheaded. Gauge your hunger and see how hungry am I. And just because the clock says a certain time, or people around you are eating, if you're not hungry, then you don't have to eat. Now, there's a lot of things that go on into that. Is it the only time that you're going to get a break to eat throughout the day? Then maybe you eat a small portion and you put something in your pocket. If it is non-perishable, can you keep it? Or maybe, you keep a half a sandwich for a later time in a cooler that you have. There's a number of things that we can do. But as you think about what is it that are my comfort foods, so ask yourself, when you start to work with me, I asked you to give me a list of your 5 foods that you go to when you're triggered or you need some comfort. And I've had people tell me I have no foods that I go to, and then we dive in deeper, and they just don't think about them as comfort foods. But what are the things when things are not going well around you that you reach for? Is it popcorn? Is it peanuts? Is it salty crackers? Are you a sweet tooth that you're looking for small bites of candy, chocolate covered, anything? There's so many chocolate covered things right now. You could reach for anything. What is it that works for you? Because we each have our own different taste buds and things that work different for us. So as you think about it, think about for yourself, what are my trigger foods? What are my comfort foods? And then what's going on around me? What is the environment that I'm in? And how do I feel? What is my emotional state at the time that I want to reach for that food? And what can I do to change my state, particularly change my emotions, without reaching for food? And sometimes it's just walking out the door, going on a walk. Sometimes people get in a car and drive away from the situation. You can go out in nature, whatever that looks like, out on the water, out on a walk. Changing your state. And what kind of state do you want to be in? What are you currently in, and what are you looking for? Because a lot of times when you're using that food, we're tending to overeat because, again, we're looking for an emotional state change. I hope these tips have helped you. I hope that you can identify what are some of your own comfort and trigger foods. If you want help, you want to work with a wellness doctor that has used these tips with many people and helped them to break through their own trigger foods so that you can start to live the best life possible for you, then reach out to me. Let me know that you want a free wellness consult and we can talk about what is going on with you. My goal is to help people love the body that they live in and live their best life. So I'd love to help you and be on that journey with you. If I can help you in any way, please reach out. Have a great day.